Can we talk about how one simple morning turned into a squirrel, a mosquito, and a bottle of peony spray? I started my day with a plan. That was my first mistake. I sat down this morning fully intending to record. I had my coffee, I had my thoughts together, and I was actually in the mood to get something done. For once, I wasn't wandering around the house wondering what I'd walked into the room for. I was ready, productive, focused, practically professional. I sat down at my office, computer on, and ready to record. And then Little Red decided to launch what sounded like a full renovation project inside my wall. And it's not like I can move my equipment because I have an iMac and all my video recording stuff in here. So it was not easy or even doable to change things. Now, for those of you who don't know Little Red, he is not some charming woodland side creature. He's a squirrel you've heard about if you've heard any of my other videos. And thanks to the rain, apparently he decided our house was the place to be today. And the actual minute I sat down to record, he got to work, scratching, chewing, running, thumping. Honestly, it sounded less like one squirrel and more like a family business. At this point, I don't think he's just making a nest. I think he's building an entire condo community in there. There are probably units available, a waiting list, one pushy little squirrel in a hard hat yelling at everyone to keep it moving because occupancy is going fast. And of course, the noise would absolutely be picked up on audio. Normally, I would bang on the wall and let him know that if he plans on living here rent-free, he could at least keep it down during business hours, and that banging sometimes would cause him to leave for a bit. But naturally, my husband was working from home and he was going to be on Teams meetings all day, in and out of calls. And the last thing he needed in the middle of some professional conversation was his wife in the background, pounding on the wall like she'd finally snapped. So there I sat trying to record something meaningful while a squirrel developed waterfront property in my walls. Needless to say, recording was not going to happen. I thought, okay, if I can't record, I'll at least do something useful. I went outside to pick some lettuce for my husband's sandwich because apparently I'm the kind of wife who grows lettuce and picks it fresh for lunch. Very wholesome, very peaceful, very look at me living close to the earth. Except I forgot one very important detail. Mosquitoes. They're going to be out there and they love me. Not in a casual, oh, I got to have one bite kind of way. No, they love me with the intensity of a bad ex who can't let go. I could be standing in a yard full of people and somehow they'll take one look around and say, no thanks, we'll have that woman in the back by the lettuce. Sure enough, one little bloodsucker came in the house with me and spent the better part of the morning stalking me around the house. I'd walk in the kitchen, there he was. I'd go into the bathroom, there he was. I'd sit down and I could hear that tiny little buzz that instantly makes you start swatting in the air like you've totally lost your mind. But this was an extra committed mosquito. This lunatic actually got under my glasses, trying to attack the exact same area around my eyes that bees have stung and they always seem to go for. As if I have some kind of flashing sign on my face, visible only to flying insects. Honestly, I don't know what it is about my eye area, but apparently the insect world has decided it's prime real estate. At this point, I'm half expecting a hornet to show up with a tiny map and a reservation. So my morning had gone from I'm going to record something productive to I'm going to be harassed by wildlife on multiple levels. One in the wall, one under my glasses, both apparently obsessed with me. Since productivity clearly wasn't going to happen, I decided to do the one thing this house always gives me plenty of material for: pivot. I had peonies everywhere. Yesterday I had vases of them all around the house, bowls of them, petals I couldn't bear to throw out because they still smelled so beautiful. And if you know me, you know I hate wasting something lovely when there's still a little life left into it. So last night, when some of the blooms had started to fade, I gathered up more petals that still had plenty of scent. I put them in water under my little candle lamp with just a bit of of jasmine essential oil just to help sustain the fragrance. I thought maybe I'd at least get one more night of enjoying this beautiful scent. By morning, the water had taken on that soft, peony scent, and it actually smelled even better than it had the night before. Since my recording day had already been hijacked by a squirrel housing development and a mosquito with a personal vendetta, I decided I may as well see if I could turn that peony water into a room spray and get even more bang for my buck. I decided that I would mix the scent I had made half and half with alcohol, which sounded simple enough until I went looking for rubbing alcohol and I couldn't find any anywhere. And of course, I wanted to do this immediately. I wasn't going to wait to get some. So the only thing I could find that was a good substitute was real good, expensive vodka. So if you ever come to my house and it smells expensive and floral, you know that I apparently make peony spray the same way some people make cocktails. I poured the peony water through a funnel into an empty mist bottle, and the funnel caught all the petals, so I didn't even need to strain it. Then I mixed it about half and half with vodka. I gave it a little shake, and that was that. And honestly, it smelled heavenly. Not fake floral, not headache inducing, not like someone exploded a perfume counter in the middle of the living room. It smelled like actual peonies, only better. Soft, fresh, pretty. And somehow, even though I sprayed far more than I needed to, because self-control has clearly left this house, it still wasn't overpowering. For someone like me who can react to strong floral scents, that was the biggest surprise of all. I expected it to be too much. Instead, it just made the house smell like summer and peonies and maybe a woman who was one squirrel away from a breakdown. I even put a little on the warmer because once you've already gone from I'm going to record to I'm making artisanal room spray with premium vodka, while a squirrel chews the infrastructure of my home and a mosquito tries to crawl into my eyeballs, you may as well commit. Fully commit. So if you have peonies dropping petals all over your home and you hate throwing them out while they still smell beautiful, here's what I actually did. I gathered the peony petals that had lots of fragrance. I put them in water with a tiny bit of jasmine. You could use another floral spray that I would recommend, probably one of the white flowers, could be gardenia, some essential oil, because it seems to help it carry a little farther through. And I ended up leaving it underneath the candle lamp. I turned off the candle lamp at night and I left it sitting there. You would think, okay, you're going to lose the scent. But for some reason, it made it infuse even more. The next morning, I strained that water into a spray bottle, mixed it about half and half with vodka in my case, because apparently we're fancy now, and I gave it a shake. Then I stored it in the refrigerator to help keep that fresh scent. That's it. No big production, just one more way to get a little extra life out of the flowers that are so beautiful to let go of. So no, I did not record that day. What I did was I got outsmarted by a squirrel, hunted by a mosquito, picked lettuce for my husband's sandwich like I was starring in a wholesome farm-to-table commercial, and make peony room spray with good vodka, which now that I think about it, is probably a much better use of the morning anyway. And if anyone needs me, I'll be in the beautifully scented house I can't work in, waiting for Little Red to either pay rent or at least stop building condos during office hours.